tallest wall in the world is the Great Wall of China. Not so? Wrong. It's the Great Walls of Benin. 16,000 kilometers long, four times as long as the Great Wall of China, and using as much as 100 times the construction material as the Great Pyramid of Giza. Benin walls remain the greatest feat of earthworks in the ancient world ever. Ethno-mathematician Ronnie Glash seems to feel that the city of ancient Benin was in fact constructed using a form of fractal geometry, a form of mathematics that in fact Europeans had not yet discovered. Sudan, or the country known as Nubia in ancient times, has more pyramids than the country famous for them, Egypt. Nubia's pyramids, while being slightly smaller in stature, number up to 255, while Egypt has 137 pyramids. Nubia in ancient times was known as Tarseti to the ancient Egyptians, or the land of the bow, because of their famous arches. The origins of Nubian civilization are considered contemporaneous with pre-dynastic Egypt, and date at least to around 4000 BC. But its earliest capital dates to around 2500 BC, and it's known widely as Kerma. The Nubians in their time defeated the Assyrians, the Romans, and the Egyptians. And in 74 BCE, or before the Christian era, the Black Pharaohs conquered and ruled Egypt for nearly 100 years, starting with the pharaohs Pie and Pianki, followed by the more well-known Taharka and Shabaka and the Kandakes, or Nubian queens. So much for a dark continent, so desperately in need of the light of civilization. Never mind the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, or the Morgans. The richest man to have ever lived on planet Earth was almost certainly the King of Mali, Mansa Musa Keita, who had a personal net worth of 400 billion US dollars, or in my country's terms, 5 trillion rand. En route to Mecca in 1324 to make his pilgrimage or Hajj, Mansa Musa Keita handed out so much gold to the Egyptian populace that he crashed the Egyptian economy for 12 years. It took 12 years for the Egyptian economy to recover. Africa is generally erroneously thought of as an illiterate continent. However, what to make of the Ge'ez script of ancient Ethiopia, known as the Kingdom of Damat, and dating back to around about the 9th century BCE, as well as the Meroitic script of the ancient Kingdom of Kush, dating to 300 BC. The Ge'ez script of ancient Ethiopia therefore outdates the arrival of the Roman alphabet in my own ancestral country, Ireland, by nearly 1,500 years.
What?
Ge'ez is generally known as the liturgical language of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. So much for conventional wisdom. The single largest monolith ever raised was raised by the sub-Saharan members of the ancient African kingdom of Aksum, which is in today's Tigray region of northern Ethiopia. 33 meters tall and weighing in at a massive 520,000 kgs. The great stele of Aksum probably toppled soon after being raised by its workforce. The phonolite stone used to build the obelisk was probably quarried about 4 kilometers away and brought by its workforce via sled or perhaps even the now extinct North African elephant. However, even until this day, the monolith known as the Obelisk of Aksum, standing at 79 feet and weighing in at about 160 tons, is still on display in the modern-day Tigrayan town of Aksum itself. So go there. Go and check it out and see it for yourself. Aksum, of course, is thought to be the legendary location of the lost Ark of the Covenant, said to have been brought by Menelik the Wise, the son of King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, in around about the 10th or 9th century BCE. So much for the education system. So there you have it, the truth about Black Africa. An Africa that had the greatest wall in the world, one of the greatest feats of ancient engineering or earthworks the world has ever seen. An Africa where there are more pyramids in Sudan than in Egypt. An Africa that produced the world's wealthiest man. An Africa that produced massive megalithic architecture. And an Africa that had an alphabet, anything from thousands of years to 700 years before my ancestors in Ireland had. It seems almost like everything is backwards. And it seems like when people are at war, the ultimate aim is to create mass propaganda so that the truth is never known. One wonders if these things had been known, just what effect it might have had on the course of history. They were just merely shifted to the side, covered up, omitted, deleted, etc. So the ultimate question is, did 100 million people have to die just because of everybody else's idiocy, greed, vanity, and bloodlust? In all the wars, the colonial wars, liberation wars, slavery, etc., over the years, if this knowledge had have been commonplace to the general majority of humanity, the answer simply is no. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, the murder of 100 million black Africans remains the largest unacknowledged genocide the world has ever seen, and will remain so as long as Africa remains poor and unrecognized for her part in which she played in human history, especially considering that the word African and human are deeply related, if not ultimately one and the same thing. So my aim in this video has been to restore Africa to a rightful place in history, to put her on equal footing with the rest of the world's civilizations, and to combat the unjustified, unscientific and erroneous ignorance and racism that she's had to endure for far too long. However, I think it needs to be borne in mind that these civilizations were great golden Babylons. They engaged in slavery, they engaged in the decimation of the environment. They were empires like the rest of the empires of the world. They traded in slaves, they traded in rhino horn, they traded in ivory, in ebony, in leopard skins. It was monumental. So my hope is to show you that the true soul of Africa, the umbilical cord to the root of our very being, is out there within the wilderness of Africa, within its not so obvious societies and people, and within the land and the animals and the wildlife of Africa. That's where the soul really is, and that's what the lessons that we need to learn right now at this point of ecological crisis and societal oppression. So thank you for listening. This is Shellrock Bones for DNA TV signing off. See you next time.